Hello, this video is in response to the questions that were submitted to my keynote in Cobb County for Cobb County schools titled In It to Win It. Specifically, my keynote was playing games, having fun, being friends with everyone. So following up that keynote, I actually asked the crowd for questions and comments, and we ran out of time, and I wanted to create a video answering those questions. Now, one key thing that I want to point out is that some of the questions got cut off. So I'm going to do my best to answer those questions based on a few assumptions, conversations that I had, and the context of the question being asked. So let's take a look at this first one. The question is for students who are looking to go down the career path of gaming, animation, creating digital content. What are some things you would recommend them to be good at, to be working on? So these areas of interest are actually core to esports, and specifically to esports and gaming. I recommend that they just get started. Make your first thing, post your first video. They'll feel like they aren't good enough. They'll feel like their content isn't quite right, or maybe they don't have the right equipment, or they may feel like they need something more. But in truth, the best creators are the ones who just create. They just make it. Like, make that first thing. Okay, great. Find your niche. Make something for it. And then, as I note down here, assess it and improve on it. That is the key to success. Now, here in the bottom comment, I said, find your niche. Don't just copy. Don't copy just to copy. Like, there's famous YouTubers, there's famous content streamers. Like, they're going to have skills and techniques. Right here I'm using, this is a tool that they use called OBS, or Open Broadcaster Software. So like, I'm using it, but I have my own frames, I have my own styles, I have my own presentations, I have my own little niche. And this is a key fact here. So learn how to make thumbnails. Thumbnails are the cover images for the video, right? Like, it's an image when you're scrolling that can help grab the attention of your viewers. So learning how to do your thumbnails first is really, really important, and make them engaging. Develop your own style and technique, and then listen to this. Moms, dads, gamers, teachers, admins, I'm going to tell these want to be content creators, make 100 or more videos or streams or pieces of content before you even look at your subscriber counts or your views. Okay, that is radical. Those are the things that you pay attention to. Like, how many subs do I have? How many views did that get? That doesn't matter. You need to get to 100 or more pieces of content made. And here's the key. Every single time you make a piece of content, you need to assess it and then improve upon it. Get better. 1% better is one of my friends from high school is the football coach at Shorter University, and he has built a tremendous program there on the principle of 1% better every day. If you can improve by 1% every day, over time, you are going to be a tremendous athlete. You can be a tremendous content creator. You can be a computer scientist. You can be a violinist. You can be an artist. Anything you want to be, getting 1% better every day. The next question, what are your thoughts on sharing your Rocket League gamer tag with students as opposed to creating a class or school-based alias? Okay, so for those of you who don't know, a Rocket League gamer tag is basically like your handle or your name inside of the game. And if somebody knows your name inside of the game, then they can find you. And in many instances, they can know that you're online. They can know that you're playing. They can even, if you don't have your settings right, they can spectate you. They can join your team. They can join your group. They can join your party. It can be problematic. So I say this is an interesting one. A couple questions here. Do I want my gamers to see when I am online? Do I want to play with them all of the time? What if they or I am playing at 2 a.m.? do I want to engage with my gamers at 2 a.m.? So I do share my Epic Games main tag with my esports gamers, which is different than gamers in general. But that's because as a teacher or coach, I've built up this boundary. And they know they do respect that. I will say they do a good job respecting that. They don't send me party invites and stuff unless they've already asked outside of the game. But they also, it is a good thing because they also know that I'm there if they need anything. I have actually jumped in a few instances where my gamers were it was either before a match or right after a match, they were experiencing some toxicity and experiencing some like bad behavior, not them, somebody else. And they called me in. I was able to jump in. They kept playing. I was spectating them playing and recording the bad behavior for them. And then we submitted it as a ticket to, I mean, I hate to say it, but to get that gamer in trouble because they were cheating and their behavior was completely inappropriate. So I helped them take care of that. And then I actually showed them what I did. And so they learned how to do what I was doing so that they could, advocate for their own safety in experience. I do avoid sharing my main Epic with just anyone. I say more than 1 degree of separation. So if I don't directly coach or mentor or teach that gamer, then I really don't like to share it out. So one of the things I ask my gamers to do is don't share my gamer tag. Technically, if they have friends with friends on, then somebody who's friends with them could see that they're friends with me. It's not a big deal, but it's something that you can choose to do personally. As far as like the school goes and school district, there's no real rules against it. But obviously there are precautions that you want to take before you start giving your gamer tag out to just anybody. That is a great question. And also right there at the bottom, it says, I do have an alt tag as well. So I have a couple alt tags. So alternate Epic Games accounts and other platforms. Question 3, actually more of a comment. Still a question though. Love the idea, but which standards does this cover, or is it a tool to what? A tool to teach, a tool to engage. It's really both. So I say here, it. As I mentioned in my presentation, there are Godot standards for esports as they spell it, lowercase e sports or a capital E sports as we in the industry spell it. These standards address a wide range of topics in the realm of esports and can align with just about any CTIE pathway. Linked below, you will find the standards document. If you just like Google search Godot, Gadoe, esports, like one of the first results you should get is the link to this PDF if you don't want to type this in or if you can't click it. It's a really cool course. It is extremely broad, and the standards, while some of them are to the point and specific, many of them really all of them can be flexed and stretched in different ways to make them fit different student needs, different teacher needs. I have found over the last 2 years and subsequently the year before that, teaching it indirectly, not as an official class, it changes every year because my gamers change. And some years I may emphasize like tournament standards and building different types of tournaments and leagues, while others are interested in this. Like they want to learn how to do OBS and how to build, these graphics. This is a really simple one, but I have ones that have actual animations in them and movies and audio and, all that kind of like fun clicky type stuff. But the point is, you have the creative latitude and I guess the comfort in the standards that you can teach it this way or you can teach it that way, but both ways are going to fit that standard. Next one. Oh, great job, PK Graph. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate the compliments. You are a natural. Again, I appreciate that as well. I work really hard on my presentation skills. This is a medium that I love. I love to be on stage, and I also love to come at you through the cameras too. So informative and engaging. Absolutely. I teach 8th grade math. Whoa, boy. Can you please send your TET? I'm not sure if that's test or text. So I will address it as it is the text. But I do want to comment that 8th grade math is actually a very interesting time for students. Not only is it an inflection in their math pursuits starting to ramp up into high school math, and in fact, in many districts, actually teaching high school math in middle school, Algebra 1. But it's also their brains and bodies are going through changes. Big surprise, right? Like, from preteen to early teen, adolescence, those changes that are going on are affecting their minds and their bodies. And I think that esports and I think that video games are a great medium, a great tool to teach them how to manage the emotions that come with those changes, to help manage the effects of those changes. And it just so happens that I would bet that the vast majority, if not nearly all, of your 8th grade math students are playing video games in one way or another. And a lot of them probably are interested in esports. So I have 2 textbooks that are going to going to be available very soon. One of them is available on Amazon. If you go to Amazon and it says my name right here, if you just search PK Graph in Amazon, the first book that should come up is called Mindful Gamer. Mindful Gamer is a book written to address 5 key skills and techniques that all gamers should know and use in order to improve their gaming endeavors. So I highly recommend that one. That one could be plugged into just about any class or any context, any age level. Then my esports book, and curriculum companion or curriculum guide is going to be published. It's called Esports is Community. It's going to be published through Skillshot Media and should be available July 2023. Super excited for that one. And if anybody is going to be teaching esports in Georgia as a high school or middle school class, you're going to want that textbook. It's got all the lessons, all the lesson plans that you will need. Question 5. How do you teach students to use their online communication skills to in-person communication? So I assume this is how do I use the techniques that my gamers use online to develop their in-person skills? One piece of context here is that a lot of people will say that some gamers are like easy to talk to online, like they're very active online, but then they come into school or they come into the classroom and they're super quiet, shut down, closed down, all that sort of stuff. And then there's maybe the opposite of that, where or maybe not the opposite, but there could be an opposite of it. But what I'm trying to get at is there's also this type of gamer, there's this dilemma of digital citizens and them not being bi-directional thinkers or bi-directional talkers. And basically that's this context here. So we got to work with our youth. We have to choose to teach these skills and techniques to our students. And that technique or that skill kind of goes back to my mindful gamer stuff, is they need to be mindful of what they are thinking and how they are speaking, both online and IRL. IRL is in real life. Then we have to help them better understand that talking one way here or there affects their speech elsewhere. And I often refer to this as metacognition. So thinking about their thoughts. We usually think about what we say before we say it, even if we're in rapid fire conversation, we're still having some thoughts and then forming, our speech or our conversation from that. So if we can do a better job thinking about what we're thinking, we can better manage the things that we're saying. And it's so easy it is way too easy to ignore the fact that how we act online, our habits online, our perceptions that we form online, and our attention online affect our real life in both positive and deleterious ways. Our youth have to learn this, and I am sorry, but home parents, guardians are not teaching this at the volume and the numbers that we need. And if we're going to take digital citizenship seriously, if we're going to deploy or implement ISTE standards and teach ISTE standards in our courses, I absolutely think this has to happen. This is something that is huge, and it's a medium they're all using, or the vast majority of them are using. So it's a quick connect to what they're already familiar with, and then we can scaffold with that, and then we can piece and plug in the digital citizenship standards. Not a question. Try Outer Wilds. Gamer son gave it to Gamer hubby. I love it. Outer Wilds, if you're not familiar, I will give you the 30-second version. It was named Game of the Year in 2019 by like 12 different reviewers, some of the biggest in the world, Giant Bomb, Polygon, Eurogamer, and The Guardian, just to name a few of the big ones. But it is a critically acclaimed and award-winning open world mystery about a solar system trapped in an endless time loop. Super cool game. It's E10 plus, so that means it's rated by the ESRB rating scale for everyone 10 and up. And I will tell you from my experience with Outer Wilds is that it is a visually and intellectually stimulating game with a wild story, engaging gameplay, interesting mechanics, and a dynamic story and plot, which is really cool. And I will tell you that there are a lot of good games out there, but this one is important for many of those reasons I just mentioned. Question 7. What games are appropriate for school, and what should someone who is just dipping their toes in start with? Now, these are my 3. I'm going to mention one other big one that's not on here because it's not, I don't put it in the esport realm, but it's perfect for basically any age level, any age group. But yeah, I said here, you're hitting me with a hard hitter. It's hard to say what is completely age appropriate, but I think for elementary and middle school starting out in esports, there's 2 games that you can focus on, Rocket League and Brawlhalla. Both of them have very low skill floors and infinitely high skill ceilings. That means, basically you can have gamers walk in, and if they can pick up, a video game controller, they can start playing. That's it. They need to be able to click the buttons and they're good. Another key fact about Rocket League and Brawlhalla, they're both free to play. So free to play is very important. They are cross play, which means if you're on like a console or a computer, it doesn't matter. You can play with each other. And they are, those games have a very strong esports scene. In fact, Brawlhalla is one of the best grassroots esports competitions with extreme opportunity to start winning money, which is what the gamers want to know. So it gets them interested, it gets them hooked, and it gets them going very, very quickly. Then for middle school and high school, you can start transitioning into League of Legends or adding League of Legends into that mix. I mentioned League of Legends in my presentation. It's arguably one of the most important esports in the world. It's going through some tough times right now. Besides that, continuing with Rocket League and Brawlhalla in middle school and high school, you can add League of Legends. Okay, so the one that I was going to say, but I don't totally believe it's an esport, even though it is. I don't have it here because it's not free to play. Not in every instance free to play, but that's Minecraft, and specifically Minecraft Education. I think at the very least, anyone can start. Says, dipping their toes in, start with. Minecraft is a great place to begin. Couple different ideas. NASEF does something called Farmcraft, where basically you have to optimize a farm by playing a game inside the game, and you get scored on how well you grow crops and distribute them to your customers. Really neat way to do it. So that's Farmcraft through Minecraft Education. The other thing you can do is like a build off. So you can do like community builds. You can do architectural engineering design builds. You can even do redstone challenges where you're basically having the students maybe engineer or design some sort of machine that requires moving parts and all that sort of stuff. There's lots and lots of different ways, different things you can do. But to simply just get started, there's tons of free stuff, lots of free lessons, and lots of free content in Minecraft Education that you can kind of like twist and turn to make it a esport. But these are my three main that I like to recommend because they are all free to play. They're all cross-platform. Well, actually, League of Legends is mainly just PC, even though you can play League of Legends Wild Rift on mobile. But these two are free to play, cross-platform, cross-play, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, that is it for that one. Ooh, and now the big one. And the most loaded question is last. I'm actually going to kind of read this as it is here because it's a lot of information, but there is incredible opportunity here. So is there funding for esports clubs? I'm going to say esports clubs and teams. And the answer is yes. But this is a question I most often get when discussing esports with educators, admins, school systems. My opinion is that you do not need to spend any money to get started. And I believe that you already have the necessary equipment in your schools already, at least enough to get started. Plus, your gamers can bring in their consoles. Here, I recommend Nintendo Switches. They can play from home to get started, or you can start with games that are free to play and require minimal systems to run. So a generic school PC would be able to run it. Minecraft Education can run on Chromebooks, desktops, iPads, all kinds of stuff. So keep in mind that I really believe, and I've seen successful programs start with $0 budgets. And then here I say, yep, this one needs a bigger bubble for adequate response. So here you can see I beefed up the bubble a little bit in order to better address the funding opportunities. There are lots of funding opportunities, but these are a few of the ones that I have experience with. So NASEF, which is the Network of Academic and Scholastic Esports Federations. If you go to nasef.org, which is linked back further in the presentation, again, nasef.org, they have lots of funding opportunities. Phoenix Gaming Foundation, which I thought I linked all these, but apparently I did not. But if you just search this PHNX, Phoenix Gaming Foundation, they do micro grants. So they usually do $500 grants for programs that are starting. And they have been very successful in sparking leading to the creation of esports teams at schools that are starting up. Intel does a lot of grants, and they pay attention to a lot of schools who are getting started. Of course, Microsoft is very interested in what we are doing. Yours truly, Ghost Gaming, we have sponsored labs and work with many of these partners to continue to do so. And then iBuyPower. iBuyPower is a pre-built PC company. They make really good hardware, and they work with us, and they also do grants and funding for esports labs that are starting up. 3 fundraisers here for you. I have experience with all of them. I have better experience with some more than others. I want to point out Double Good. Double Good is a popcorn fundraiser built for schools. I'm working with them on like a specific esports type fundraiser, but basically it boils down to you get 50% of the sales that go through your Double Good. The popcorn is absolutely amazing. I do have a contact for that. If you're interested, please feel free to reach out. GoFundMe actually has educational options or opportunities. And then Vertical Raise. Vertical Raise is another kind of like GoFundMe. I've seen schools raise a very large amount of money using Vertical Raise. I have not personally done it, but again, some of my schools have raised like 5 figures going through that. Then the more esport way of doing it is hosting internal tournaments and leagues to raise funds. You'd be surprised how competitive gamers are when there is a school champion title on the line. And in fact, school champions are part of my FOCO esports county championships. So there's a whole ecosystem built around that, and those gamers love to carry that title or even a belt that's school champion of whatever said game. So that is it. Those are all the questions I have. If you have more questions, please feel free to reach out. I am happy to help. This is what I do. This is what I want to see. I feel like this is my purpose in education, leading this charge in this revolution, to see more video games in schools being played as a part of and in complement to standards and curriculum. That being said, I want to remind you that esports is community, and it is a community where all gamers can belong and thrive. And I will not stop until we have reached that. So we got a lot of work to do, but I'm super excited to work with you all and see how we can't make this a reality. Until then, this is Coach Graff reminding y'all, stay positive out there, gamers.